All right. So welcome everybody to the tutorial to learn how to create a poster for tours in your market. This is going to be a very visual training to teach how to do a poster for your market for weekly tours or events or different things that you have coming up. What you see here in front of you is the template that we use here in Ottawa. And I'm going to actually walk us through an example of, like, I know our tours are on Tuesday. I'm going to walk you through an example. I'm going to adjust this poster for our tour that's happening tomorrow. Now, usually we would do these a bit more in advance, but to give everybody a real example, I'll show you how to do it here. So we've already created this template. As you can see, there's different layers. Like there's a photo of Ottawa in the background, there's different layers. It's kind of already set up. Anybody can use the same template if they'd like, and you can always adjust things and move things around as you wish. So you can see when you click on the different items, like the different text boxes, the different photos, the labels, the logos, every time you click, when you see the cursor that goes in 4 arrows, that's basically allows you to move something. So when it's like that, then I can actually move things around. So in this case, there's some layers of things, but you can see the photo, I can move photos, I can move things around. So if you want to change the design or layout, you're able to do that. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to keep the layout the same, but I'm going to show you how to adjust it, i.e. the date and the presenters. So I'm going to leave all of the existing information the same, Opulence Ottawa Tour, but if you wanted to, you could change the font, change the size of the font, the text. So all you would have to do is select, and then this box right here actually gives you the different fonts, the drop down. I hope you can see that. There's a different drop down menu for the type of text as well as the size. So sometimes, if it's squished or if the words together go off the page or it doesn't look right, you can adjust it here so that it suits the layout of the poster. So tomorrow is Tuesday, February 4th, and I'm going to adjust the date to 2020. So that's an easy one. You just click on the text box and you can click to select that unit and change it, or you can do one at a time. So I just press backspace and then I put another T there. All of our times are staying the same. It's still on Tuesday. The location is still the same. I'm going to put a little space here just because that doesn't look quite right. And then what we want to do next, and everything else is remaining the same on the poster. What we want to do next is we want to change the presenters. So we like to personalize our posters to have it unique to the different presenters to give credibility to who we have showcasing the products. So tomorrow we actually have Ifra and I together, and normally we do 2 presenters. In this case, we would have the format co-presenters and then one after the other, their photos beside each other. It's helpful to have the photos of the individuals kind of the same angle, like both headshots, both kind of facing the same way, or similar kind of backgrounds. You don't want to have one that has a background that is crazy colors and red and the other one is white. So this was as close as we could get in this case. That still looks okay. They're about the same size, and they fit together if you look at the poster in entirety. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to just remove these photos. So I just click on it and press delete, and click on it and press delete. And I'm going to click on this text box and I'm going to put my name. Replacing Justine's name with mine. We're both lifestyle director ones. And then I'm going to put Ifra's name here. And I will adjust that here. Like that. Now, hopefully you guys will be able to see what I'm doing at the menu part now. So we have the date, we have the times, everything there. We need the people who are presenting. So next I'm going to go up to the top menu, and I want to go to insert, and then I'm gonna go to picture. So now for me, because I edit these posters often enough, I actually have a folder on my computer that has previous templates that we've used and photos of the individuals who usually do tours. So it's very easy for me to go and find the presenters for the poster. So can you see in my, can you give me a thumbs up, Ifra, if you can see in my folder what I'm looking at right now? You can see, okay. I wasn't sure if you could still see the PowerPoint or what you were. So next I'm gonna go into the folder where I have all the photos. Stuff for me. I'll take it there. Right, obsessed with it. Just going to mute. Thank you for joining us, everybody. So I'm now in the folder where I have the photos that we want to use. And this is the photo, such a nice photo of us that I love to use for our tour. Now, when you insert an image like this, right from your folder, it's going to be not the right size, right? So from here, you want to select the photo. Again, click on it to make sure you've selected the image. And then if you go into any corner, you see that the cursor goes from 4 arrows to 2. And this one, where it has a diagonal double arrow, means resize. So I'm going to basically click on it and shrink it down. So I'm resizing the image to fit the proper space on the poster. I'm not looking at the chat right now. I will come back to it in a second. Hard to, I know how Danny feels when she's doing a slide presentation and can't see the chat. So I'm shrinking the photo to fit where we want it. Now, if you notice, the photo is on top of the text box. We want it to go behind. So sometimes it'll be one or the other, but the easy way to fix that is to right click when you've selected the image, right click. And then the menus to do with making adjustments to whatever you have selected, in this case it's an image, are going to appear. So now we want to go send to back, and it's going to put it behind, oh, maybe not that far back, not at the, hang on a second. I just clicked undo. So I actually sent it all the way to the back through all the layers. We just want to send it backwards once. It's just going to go backwards once, and it's not working for some reason. Okay, I'm going to do it the other way. So I'm going to bring the other one forward there. So I just did it the other way around. So instead, because the challenge with this file is there are many layers. So there's an image layer, there's a layer that just kind of blocks out the color of the photo so we can have like a photo showing in the background. So that's the problem when you're playing with some of these settings. You just kind of have to play around and see what works and see what flows and what fits. Right? So if you are joining us, please mute your line.
Nice.
I can hear.
I don't know, but
all right. So basically what I did, I clicked on the text box and I brought it forward in front of the image so that the image fits nicely behind. Now you can move it around. In this case, I kind of like to keep it in the middle there. And the text box looks to be an okay size. The one thing that we are missing is a logo for LD1. So I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to go back into Insert, Picture. And the same place I have all the photos for the presenters, I have the LD logos. So then it appears on the page, and I'm going to move it, click on it, and then move it where I want it to be. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, the same process. So clicking on the small arrow to shrink it down a little bit. And so then that's going to stay just like that. Okay, that looks okay, I think. Maybe move it up a little. So sometimes it takes a little bit of playing around, but I think that looks pretty good. So we've got the date, we adjusted the date, the time stay the same. Really, week over week, it's adjusting the date and the presenter. So it's a pretty easy process when you learn how to do it and you have a good template to use. So now I want to save as the new file type or as the new file for this date, because right now I use an existing one. So I'm going to go home, or sorry, to the menu, save as, or sorry, save as, my apologies. And then when I go save as, the box opens, so it's asking you what you want to name it and where you want to save it. So I keep everything in the same folder. It's just easier that way. And so February 4th, and then I like to put our names just because if we have the same presenters up, then we can use a template that already has those photos to make it even faster. So that's going to save it as a PowerPoint. But a PowerPoint file type is not helpful for sharing on social media. You want to save them as an image. And so the last thing that we need to do is we need to save this file as a JPEG, or like basically an image file. So what I'm going to do for that, so right now it's saved as PowerPoint. So this is, in PowerPoint is how you are able to edit. But we want to save it as a picture. So we're going to go back over to the same menu, click down, save as, and then you want it, where before we saved it as PowerPoint, we actually want to go down to other formats. And then I hope you can see this box that opened. There's another box that pops open that allows you to save as, and the file name is remaining the same, but save as type, I actually want to save it as a JPEG. So the drop-down menu will show you all of these different types that you can save it as. You can save it as a PDF, you can save it as a web page, you can save it as, we want to save it as a JPEG or PNG, which are both picture files. So I'm going to save it as a JPEG. I'm going to choose that and keep the same file name there. Click save. And then there's a box that pops up that says, do you want to export every slide of the presentation or only the current slide? We just want to do the current slide. There's only one slide. We just want the one poster converted into one image. So now it's saved as a JPEG. So now I'm going to show you, I'm going to stop my share and I'm going to go find it again. Hang on a sec. I'm going to go find it in my folder. There we go. All right. So I'm going to open it as a picture so you can see what the poster actually looks like, not in editing version. So here I'm going back into my folder where I saved it, and it is right here. So you can see in my folder, this one is a JPEG image and this one is the PowerPoint. You can see the PowerPoint icon there. And this one is a JPEG. If you put your cursor over it, hover it over, it'll tell you what type it is. So then I'm going to click on it and open it, and voila, you have the poster. And this is also, when you check it after, this is also a great time where you can see if there's any adjustments. So if you look, I would almost go back in, like you see the Lifestyle Director 1 logo is kind of cut off a little bit on the end. So I would check it before I send it and blast it everywhere. I would check it to make sure it looks okay. So I can actually go back in and repeat the process to tweak it where I need to before you share it out. So in this case,
we're not seeing it, Steph. You know, the big picture. We're not seeing the big picture.
Okay. What are you seeing right now?
We've seen all of the whatever's in that file, everything in that file.
All right. I don't know why. Hang on. Let's see here. See if I can open it a different. There we go. Okay. So can you see it now?
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. So what I was explaining, that's the problem with going in between different folders and things. Sometimes what you're sharing doesn't always stay in that.
No problem. No problem.
So yeah, so you can see where I put the Lifestyle Director 1 logo. It's cut off a little bit. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so I would go and I would move it and save it again the same way that I showed you until I got it looking the way I want. So I'll do that really quickly, and then I'll stop the recording and ask if there are any questions and check the chat, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to do that.
Actually, keep the recording. You know why? Because whatever you're going to show us is good to have it. So when we share the video, the more detail, the better. So.
Sure. Okay. So I'm opening it back up, and now I'm going to go down a little bit. So you can see, because of all the layers, you can't see exactly where it ends. That's part of the challenge. I haven't quite mastered that, like knowing exactly where to place things first time. Sometimes it takes a couple tries, but I know by looking at the image that it was just the logo that was just a little bit too far over. So even if I move it just a little bit over like that, it's going to be in a better spot.
Can you shrink that logo a little bit?
I can. Yeah. Yeah. So I can shrink it. Now, the thing is, sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's a little bit of finicking around because it doesn't always go exactly where you want it to go. In this case, Ifra and I are both Lifestyle Director 1, so we don't need two of the same logo. It's just a matter of positioning it where it looks okay, right? So I think actually, I'm just gonna move this over a little bit, and I know it's gonna be it's not threatening to be off the page. So let's try that. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger again. You think it looks okay like that? Or smaller, Reza?
I think your Director 1, Ifra's Director 1 will be cut off if you leave it right where you had it.
But I moved the text box over, so it should.
Now it looks good. Now it looks good.
All right, so now I'm gonna save again. So I'm saving it as normal so that it adjusts in the PowerPoint, and then I'm gonna do the exact same process I showed you before. It's giving me trouble for some reason. Oh, weird. It's like, oh, there we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna go save as again. Keeps like closing down on me. Weird. Okay. Try one more time. There we go. So I'm going to go down to save as and other formats, and then save as type, JPEG. So I'm basically doing the same thing. I'm just correcting the image that I had before. So I'm overriding the file that I just created with the adjustment I made. Do you want to replace it? Yes. Current slide only. And we should be okay now. So I'm going to stop sharing this. And then I'm going to share again and go, nope. Bear with me, everybody.
No problem.
No, question while you're fixing that.
Yeah.
Is there a way that we can mess up the template?
Well, there is. If you come into the file and you're just like pulling things all over and moving things around, and I mean, like, you know, stuff can get removed and moved around for sure. So you want to be mindful of that, but you can always check to see what it looks like by saving it as a JPEG, right? So I would say, you know, like if someone knows, you know, if you're just learning this for the first time, it's easiest to just keep the template as it is and just adjust what you need to adjust. If someone is learning it a little bit more advanced and they want to change the layout, or they want to add, you know, Safe Home Revolution, or change the images or the design, then you can do that. But I would suggest duplicating the file so that you always keep that one good template that you have, and then you can always use another copy if you want to play around and you want to try new things.
That's what I was asking. So we can have a dummy copy that we can play with.
Yes. So now I am just retrieving this tour poster. Yeah. So now I'm going to share again. And here it is.
Looks good. Looks good.
Yeah.
So again, my question, just to understand well, I can use a template, save the image from it, and play with that image?
You can only edit it if it's in the PowerPoint file. The image, saving it as an image is when it's ready to be shared on social media.
Okay.
So we maneuver in PowerPoint. PowerPoint, hang on. So in Microsoft PowerPoint, in this program, this is where you have all the options and everything. So in my folder, for every tour date, I have a PowerPoint version and I have a JPEG version. So the JPEG you can't make any edits to, but in here, as long as it's in PowerPoint, you can.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Was that helpful for everybody? Ifra, how did you?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I love it.
Very good, very good. So if you were to put 4 pictures, we have to make them really small.
Yes. So yeah, and sometimes, like, you know, when we have a special guest or something like that, it's like you want to have, like, even last week, Reza, we had Reza, special guest, and then I was the presenter below, so I had to, you know, squish and, you know, maneuver things around a little bit in terms of the size of these boxes and the size of the images. If you want to have more photos, then yeah, the other things on the poster have to be smaller because you want to have everything sized proportionately, right?
So for someone, let's say like me, I want to start doing this, right? And I've never done this. So what do? I save the image, this poster, or how do I get the templates? I know these are very preliminary questions, but I have to ask, otherwise I can fake it.
Yeah,
so
the template, I mean, the template can be made available to anybody who wants it. So I can send it by email. I can put it in Drive and share it with anybody who would like to use this template. And once you have it, then you save it to your computer and then you can use it as you wish for your own purposes.
Great. So can you forward that template to folks who ask? Amarjeet is asking, myself.
Yes, 100% I can do that. Reza and Ifra, and I think most of the people from the Ottawa team received an email from me that had a couple templates and some photos, but I can send it again for whoever can't find it or doesn't have it before.
Awesome.
Is PowerPoint or Canva is PowerPoint. I have used Canva as well, but for this particular one, we had the template existing already, and so we just kept going with PowerPoint for this one.
Very good. So also the video, I'm sure, I know you're recording it, so we can share with folks who are interested in the learning. And I guess really the only way to perfect it is by playing with it.
Yes.
You got to put some time into it. It's not like one tutorial and you learn it. You got to play with it. You got to get down and dirty. And if you're stuck, then you can ask questions. But really, the only way you learn it is by trying it and trying it and trying it.
Absolutely. And just like anything, just like, you know, a new partner joining Opulence, familiarizing yourself with the back office and all the different functions. You know, if you're learning a new software like PowerPoint, same thing. Like, you know, you can play around and try different things and see what buttons do what and get the hang of it that way. But for the purpose of this tutorial is like, you know, it's a very purposeful intention, and it's pretty easy to do once you've done it once or twice.
Right. Awesome.
Okay.
So I guess, is there any question? I see in your chat box there's some chats going on. Let's see.
Amarjeet says, I'm learning so much. I answered her base question, and then Amarjeet just asked, she said she will send her email to me so I can share it. Anybody else who would like a copy of the template, just send me your email. You can get me on WhatsApp or Facebook, and I can, if you send me your